Hey folks, Deano here again. This time take a look at a line I've only really reviewed once or twice before. This is the Bandai Dragon Stars line, obviously for Dragon Ball figures. And yeah, this is Bandai's more, shall we say, mass-produced line. Intended less for adults, but it's still a collector's line, let's be fair. It's not on par with Figuarts, but like Gogeta, some of these figures can be used to fill gaps in your display, which is why I bought this guy. Yeah, I know this figure's a few years old, but I just rejigged my display about and decided I needed a Gogeta to go with my Super Saiyan 4 Goku and Vegeta. And found this guy. It was either this guy or the model kit, and the model kit was more expensive, so yeah. Let's have a look at the box, shall we? So, standard for the Dragon Stars line, you've got window packaging here, with basically the figure and everything it comes with, which is just a pair of hands. Still better than the Star Wars Black Series. You've got the Dragon Stars logo there, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, with a picture of him on the front. Don't know where they got this art from. This is pretty much the only time I've ever seen Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta with a frown instead of a grin, but there you go. For some reason it's got Dragon Ball Super on the top instead of GT, but there you go. I believe this is a reissue, because again it's got the new Bandai Namco logo, which for some reason isn't focusing. There we go. Same picture but coloured on the back. Then a picture of everything that was in this line, or in this batch of releases. So you have Gohan, that Krillin, which that was an absolute travesty when that released. That guy is taller than Gohan somehow. I don't know what they were thinking. Like, why not just use Gohan's legs for Krillin? That was clearly the issue. And Gogeta, which you will notice, the promo image shows him with metallic hair. He does not have that in the actual release. And down here we've got, yeah, this is a reissue, 2023. I'm sure this released in 2019 or 2020 originally. So yeah, any differences with this figure to the original, I'll try and point them out. But box out the way, let's have a look at him. So in terms of accessories, he literally only comes with an extra pair of hands, which is Kamehameha style hands. They honestly look like someone's had an allergic reaction to them, because they're just puffy, they have no detail. Not something you'll ever want to use. Not that he can even do the Kamehameha pose to begin with, but we'll get into that. The actual hands that come on him are also dead clumpy, which is a bit of a shame. It makes his arms look even more elongated than like they otherwise would be. If we put them down, I know I'm going to be really nitpicky with this figure. I know it retailed for only 20 quid. But when you've got figures from Bandai at a tenner, the Dragon Ball Evolve line, that can do a lot better poses than this line, you know there's a bit of an issue there. Like, just scale up the Dragon Ball Evolve figures and you'd be golden, honestly. But yeah, as you can see, his arms look a bit elongated. but that's mostly due to these hands and the fact that they pinched the design from Figuarts, and that it's a ball hinge that the wrist pops onto, but for whatever reason the hinge part is very noticeable and very like just out in the open, which is a bit of a shame. The only other very obvious flaw that I can see with this guy is here. Doesn't look too bad when he's standing, but the minute you do that, yeah, someone's overcompensating. I have no idea why. Well, I do have a kind of an inkling as to why they done this, as to why his crotch is like huge. Whenever you see, I don't even have the box, I threw it away. Whenever you see in the show or in the manga, the fusion, the pants are really, really baggy. Trousers to anyone outside of America. Yeah, they're really, really baggy. So, and it looks as if it comes down to like his knees in the middle. So I think that's what they were going for. But yeah, that just did not work out, guys. That's not a good look at all. Like I said, it doesn't look too bad when he's standing, but any sort of pose like that is going to show like no one's business. But yeah, in terms of differences with the original, I can already see one, and that is his vest. The original one, the vest was almost too small, I want to say, and it was badly molded, so where it's supposed to like connect together, or at least sit together, it was nowhere near. So yeah, it looks like they've all but fixed that. Feels like a harder material than what I've seen on previous reviews. And yeah, for some reason his head wants to look really far down, and you can't really get it to look up any, because if you do, his head just pops off, which, if we see, they have actually kind of copied Figuarts again. I say copied, it's the same company. Tamashi's just an offshoot of Bandai. But yeah, you've got a ball peg, which allows this to move about, which is a good thing. Fortunately, with most Dragon Stars, either deliberately or just pure to sheer like ignorance, the hair is blunted at the tips. I would assume that's probably because this is a line more aimed at kids than adults, so you don't want them getting hurt or anything like that, which is fair enough. It detracts a bit from the look of the figure. That's all. But yeah, in terms of paint apps and things, everything's applied cleanly where there should be. The wrists, I've just noticed for whatever reason they haven't painted them properly, just so that you can see a bit of the fur poking through the edge. I mean, it works, it's just a bit sloppy, that's all. But yeah, in terms of articulation, his head can kind of move side to side, and that's pretty much it. That's your whack. Neck doesn't really move at all either. Most of it's because of this vest, but you're never going to have Gogeta without the vest, so that's just what the articulation is. Arms can go up that far. They can swivel, rotate. There's a kind of, well, I say kind of, there's no butterfly joint to speak of, but it does go forward a little. You can almost force it, but that's as far forward as you're getting. You're not getting any Kamehameha poses out of this guy. You might be able to futz a Big Bang Kamehameha out of him, but that's your lot. Swivel at the bicep, double joint at the elbow, which gets just past 90, doesn't look too bad. Hinge and swivel at the wrist. No ab crunch to speak of, but he does have a decent enough waist. You can go back that far, forward that far, does swivel. The legs, for how horrible the groin area is, he can do a full splits without even trying. As you can see, it's the old style figure arts drop down hips. I know it's difficult to do in a much cheaper line, Bandai, but honestly the Dragon Ball Evolve line does it better. You can kick forward that far, kick back but that far, can drop down to kick up a bit better. Double joint at the knee, but the knees on these figures are horrendous looking. Don't know why we've got this big cut at the top, and it barely gets past 90 anyway. No boot swivel at the upper wrap, but you do have a peg at the bottom, which I'm trying to pop off. There we go. It's just a ball hinge down there, which, yeah. Let's pop this back on. There we go. So yeah, all in all, it's a decent display piece. It'll do until either Tamashi gets round to it, or Demoniacal Fit or Kong beat them to it. At this point, they've all got the Super Saiyan 4 mould, so it wouldn't take any of them that much effort to do. But yeah, guys, I'll just show you a quick mod to make this guy look just a little bit better. So here we go. I just swapped out the hands for a pair of figure arts hands. These are the bootleg for the 3.0 Gohan, I believe. I just had to drill the hole a bit deeper and a bit wider just to get them to fit properly. But yeah, that really helps with the overall proportions of this guy. Still not perfect. The arms are still a bit long, but it gets rid of that cartoony look that he had, and they still work just fine. So yeah, if anyone's thinking of getting this figure, this one is starting to go up in price a little bit. Like I said, it went down in price again with the release of the Power Up pack, which is basically the same figure, but he's got a really off looking screaming face. But it comes with effect pieces and things like that, which was actually the exact same price as this guy, but I would rather have a stern face as opposed to a goofy screaming face. But yeah, guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Is this figure worth putting in your display? And until next time, I'll see you all later.